What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Ventures Tower, and you guys have been asking me to make a video about the different characters from Marvel Comics that I think could actually beat Wanda at her apex power, an insane power that we saw in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is pretty close or akin to House of M, Wanda Maximoff from Marvel Comics. Because I've been saying in a lot of the streams and the videos, like, Wanda utilizing the full power of chaos magic is pretty freaking strong. She totally reshapes reality with just a few words. She makes a fictional reality that all of the characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe live in for some time. She's incredibly strong, and there's only a few characters in Marvel's history that I think could compete with her with that level of power. And before I get into the 5 different Marvel characters that I think could actually beat Wanda, I want to give an honorable mention to a speedster. Because here's the thing, Wanda, of course, does have to cast magic. And even though she can instantly cast magic, it's not technically instantly. Like, she still has to think of the spell, desire what she wants, and then using her mind manifest it and manifest the changes to reality. Now, it's super quick, but technically speaking, a speedster could probably come up on Wanda before she even has a second to utilize her power and maybe defeat her. But here's the thing, I think Wanda would probably have protective wards against this sort of thing, and so I don't think any speedsters would actually be able to finish her off, but they might be able to catch her off guard and put her on the defensive. But again, I actually don't think any speedster out there would be able to just kill her, because I don't think Wanda's gonna like let herself just be open to that. But let's talk about the first character in Marvel Comics that I think could beat Wanda, and that is Owen Reese, aka the Molecule Man. Now, there's multiple versions of the Molecule Man, and there was a time in comics where he gets retconned and he loses a lot of his power. He first starts out in comics as being a person with the ability to completely warp reality, change things at the atomic level, and mess around with energies in the cosmos. The list of things that Owen Reese is able to do is like ridiculous and absurd. Like, there's a point where his consciousness is trapped in this wand that he thinks his powers actually come from, and then he literally creates a whole new body for himself and transplants the mind of himself, his own consciousness, from the inanimate object of the rod into his new body, seemingly escaping this thing where he was taken prisoner. There have been moments in Marvel Comics where the cosmic entities come to Molecule Man for help. Literally, they're like, bro, can you help us fix reality? And he's been able to literally fix things in the multiverse just by like waving his hand and using his crazy Molecule Man power. He can pretty much match the Beyonder, who's another character that sort of pre-retcon was just insanely powerful in Marvel Comics. But in more modern comics, Owen Reese has been massively depowered, and I don't think he'd really stand a chance against House of M Wanda in his current version. However, in Secret Wars, of course, at the end of all time, or perhaps on Battle World, that Owen Reese that has all of the crazy power of the Beyonder and all the other Owen Reese bombs that were set throughout the multiverse, I think that Owen Reese could basically do whatever he wants and very likely defeat House of M Wanda. And the next character in Marvel Comics that I think could beat Wanda Maximoff at her most powerful would be the God Emperor Doctor Doom. And this is a perfect person to follow up the Molecule Man, because what happens with God Emperor Doom is he uses Owen Reese and he sort of creates this battery of crazy Beyonder power, and then after that, Doctor Doom is able to use that power to also defeat the real Beyonders, destroying them and taking all of their godly power. And then, because he's freaking Doctor Doom, he's able to slowly utilize all of that godlike power that Owen Reese is housing to become the God Emperor of Battle World. He takes all the lingering pieces of the multiverse that are out there, forms Battle World, saves it, and becomes a god. And I mean, you can't really beat God Emperor Doom. He's literally limitless in power. He has the intellect of Doctor Doom. He has the magical abilities of Doctor Doom, which were already ridiculous and on another level, and just take that times 100. So basically, he can do all the Doctor Doom things, but beyond any limits. There's no limits, and because he can reshape reality and change things, he really can't be defeated. I think he'd make pretty short work of Wanda. Now, the next Marvel character that I think could beat Wanda is actually Jean Grey Phoenix, but only one specific version of Phoenix. And shout out to Rob from Comics Explained. He was talking about this on Twitter, and it sent me down a rabbit hole of trying to understand what this was. I had no idea what the White Phoenix was, but it's a version of the Phoenix Force that essentially proposes the idea that Jean Grey is the perfect host for the overall multiversal power of Phoenix. And we see this Jean Grey in the White Hot Room, which is this really crazy part of the cosmos where the Phoenix Force powers are all housed. It basically represents like all of life from the past and present in the multiverse. It's a nexus point in the cosmos where all of the different Phoenix hosts and the eternal Phoenix flame reside. In this place, the different Phoenix hosts will go there if they're not immediately resurrected, and they kind of just chill out there, wait, and contemplate, and are eventually reborn from a Phoenix egg. There's a concept called the crown in the White Hot Room, and it's not fully explored in Marvel, so we don't exactly know what it is, but at one point, the Phoenix refers to Jean as the White Phoenix of the crown. And at that moment in comics, Jean is able to literally hold a universe in her hands and reshape it, saving it. There was this really crazy contemplation going on where like the Phoenix Force and some of the other hosts that were Phoenixes before were telling her to let the universe go because it was eventually going to end up in this totally dark, horrible place, and she just decides to fix it. So she literally just fixes the whole universe, which ironically had to do with Scott continuing on the work of Charles and rebuilding the X-Men. But essentially, it's a version of the Phoenix that has all of the Phoenix power available to a singular person. And if somehow, some way, Jean Grey was able to access the power of the White Crown, then yeah, absolutely, she would decimate Wanda. It wouldn't even be close. Next up, I want to talk about Thanos with the full Infinity Gauntlet. Now, in the movies, it really seemed like the Infinity Gauntlet being completed was sort of nerfed, right? Like Thanos wasn't able to fully grasp how to utilize all of that power. And even though he does the snap and he does all sorts of crazy stuff, they're able to like get the gauntlet off of him at one point. They're able to stab him in the chest, and it's sort of implied that had Thor and Stormbreaker aimed for the head, they would have absolutely killed Thanos, but that is not at all what it is like in the comics. In the comics, when Thanos utilizes the gauntlet, he's able to basically perfectly use all of the different aspects and powers of reality and do absolutely insane, absurd stuff. I don't think that she would be able to defeat him. Like, even if Wanda like unmade him, he would probably be able to freeze time or go back in time and just undo what she did. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that Thanos would be able to do, and I don't think that the House of M Wanda has the ability to time travel, which would be a major weakness against Thanos utilizing the full power of the gauntlet, because Thanos is like a brilliant scientist in the comics that's really, really wise and has cosmic awareness, so he would be able to utilize all of that power. But the last person from Marvel Comics that I think could destroy Wanda Maximoff in a fight would absolutely be Franklin Richards. And it would probably have to be an adult version of Franklin Richards. The young version of Franklin Richards doesn't really have full access to all of his powers, and even though they manifest in really crazy ways, I don't think that he's actually able to fully control it. But there's a future version of Nathaniel Richards that we see in Hickman's Fantastic Four run, and this dude is just insanely powerful. He's able to make universes, resurrect Galactus, make Galactus even more cosmically powerful, and then the dude can literally defeat Celestials at that point. And Franklin Richards is such a problem for anybody that would come up against him, especially that version of Franklin that knows how to actually utilize all that power. Like, I kind of get this feeling that even if Wanda did a sort of House of M kind of thing and put Franklin into a different universe, he'd probably be able to become aware of that, put himself in a universe separate from that, escaping her powers, and then coming back into that universe with even more power to stop her and shut her down. And he is also able to utilize time travel, although I don't know if it just is because of his power or because of his brilliance, because of course, being the progeny of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, he's absolutely brilliant on top of being that powerful. And there are plenty of other really awesome and powerful comic book characters and even entities like the One Above All or the Beyonder himself that I think could defeat Wanda, but I kind of wanted to just focus on actual characters, like people from the Marvel Universe that are just hanging out that could possibly defeat Wanda. Let me know what you think about my list, and let me know if there's any other Marvel characters that you think could defeat House of M Wanda Maximoff in a fight.